We have talked about for loops. Now let's go ahead and talk about while loops. We already understand why we need loops in general. But the reason why we need while loops specifically is because whenever you don't know how many times you want to repeat a certain aspect, then you need a way for you to do it. So far from what you've noticed with for loops, you sort of have to have a definite number of times that the loop is going to run. But whenever you don't know how many times you're going to repeat your repetition and your iterations, a while loop comes in handy. So you just need to keep looping as long as the condition is true. That is the entire premise of a while loop. So how do you write a while loop? To write a while loop, you just type in while is the keyword, then you give it a condition. Once you've given it a condition, then you're going to give it some logic. So like do something, you're going to give it a condition. So for example, you can say while, let's say, while Trump is the president, tariffs are going to be are going to be imposed. So that is something that is, you don't know how many times that sort of action is going to repeat. So this is the simple syntax for a while loop. Let's print a simple while loop that is going to count from 1 to 5. So the first thing we need to do for a while loop like that is we need to declare a variable called count, and we're going to initialize this variable. We're going to initialize it to 1. So again, remember, we're counting, it's counting from 1 to 5. We'll give it a condition. So we're going to say, well, the count is less than or equal to 5. Well, this is the case. In the part of do something, we're going to tell it to print a statement. So we're going to tell it to print something like counting, something like that. And I'll actually just use an F string here. And we're going to pass in count as the variable. I'll need to put the F at the beginning for F string, like this. So it's going to print that. Then we're going to increase count by 1 at each point, rather at after each iteration. So this is what happens. So the count is 1. Well, the count, or rather, when the count is less than or equal to 5, it's going to continue printing this counting, then the count basically. So it's going to just continue printing until the count exceeds 5. So if we run this code, so we just need to do Python 3 while loop. Again, remember, you don't have to do Python 3 in your case. You can use py or just Python. So you can see it says counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it terminates the moment it gets to 5. Right? Again, this is an easy case, or rather, a safe case of using a while loop. Something that you've already probably wondered is what happens when such a loop reaches a point where it loops indefinitely. So this is the this is the warning that you are always going to be given. Whenever you're using a while loop, there's the risk of having an infinite loop. So whenever you have an infinite loop, or rather, you're actually not supposed to have an infinite loop, but you always need to make sure that your condition eventually becomes false, or you're going to create the infinite loop, which it's going to run as many times as it can until it crashes your machine. Now I'm going to try it, and I'm going to terminate this program immediately, and we're going to just hope that it doesn't mess up everything. So how a while loop works is you need to give you, of course, you use a while as the statement. Then you need to give it a condition, right? So that condition will be true or false. Again, I don't want you to try this, but I want to show it to you. So I'll actually just have a warning here, and I'll just say don't do this. So what you need to do is, again, don't do this, but no pun intended. So you will say while, then you give it a condition. So that condition is going to result to a true or a false. So I'll just say while true, then I'll print a statement here. Let's say this statement says forever loop, forever loop, like that. So I'll save, and I'm going to run this program, but I'll terminate it immediately. So run, terminate. So I had to do that quickly because if you look at this, I'm still scrolling. You can actually see the bar on this side. Like this is how many times it has already printed for loop in like a split second. So again, this is where you need to stop, or rather, you're not supposed to use this. You're not supposed to do this in a case where you have an infinite loop. It's going to crash your machine. Do not try it. Like it will hang, and you have to like reset everything again. So I'm going to comment this out. And that is basically it on how while loops work. Now, as it is the same case with for loops, there is a way that you can extend all these loops. Their use cases are there's so many use cases of these loops, and we're going to talk about these use cases as we proceed. But as a concept, this is how while loops work. Now, the challenge that I'm going to give you from this is the similar challenge that you did when doing or rather in the for loop. The challenge here is for you to write a loop or a Python program that prints all the even numbers between like 1 and 20. So I'll just have here challenge, and I'll just say write remember, in this case, use a for while loop. Write a Python program that prints even numbers between 1 and 20. And you use a while loop in this case. Again, the application is still similar as the one that you did before. And once you've done that, again, share. Let's see what you've been able to come up with. If you face a blocker while doing these challenges, let me know. I'll make sure that I walk you through what you're supposed to do. So that is going to be it for while loops. I'll see you in the next one. We're going to talk about how to break out of a loop, because whenever you are in a loop, right now we've seen how you can sort of stay in the loop, but how do you break out of it? Let's call it probably like prematurely or before everything else is achieved. We'll talk about that next.